Hey guys, welcome to Comic Convos, and today we're going to be doing a retelling of the Tales from the Dark Multiverse Death of Superman story. The video I uploaded before kind of had some really bad audio. It was really quiet. I went ahead and just removed that video so that way you guys wouldn't have to deal with it anymore. But I'm going to retell that story because that story is worth telling, and I'm pretty sure, you guys might want to hear about it. If not, whatever. I'm just doing this for me. But that audio was bad, and I needed to fix it. So without further ado, let's get started. All right, so we are back and we are redoing this Death of Superman, Tales from the Dark Multiverse. It's going to be good. I really liked this comic. But in case you guys don't know, the Death of Superman was a very big event. It was a bigger DC event because it was the first time that they killed off a big character. A lot of people thought that he was just going to be permanently dead. A lot of people just figured that he was just gone for good. So when they snatched this issue up, this one right here, again, mine, signed by Dan the Man. That's the author. Love you, Dan. He's a great guy if you ever run into him. I know I mentioned that in a video before, but if you ever run into Dan Jurgens, man, he is one of the nicest people you'll ever meet. But anyways, but it's a great story. It starts off with Lex Luthor kind of messing with stuff that he doesn't need to be messing with. He's messing with Kryptonian technology, and he makes Doomsday. They kind of covered that in Batman v Superman, but it wasn't really. They made a Ninja Turtle. They didn't make Doomsday. It's Doomsday goes and fights Superman. Superman makes the ultimate sacrifice play. Basically, he takes Doomsday straight up in space, crashes right back down, and kills him. And, I really liked the Death of Superman story. Just, it was really good. The Dark Multiverse story is also really good. I'll get to that in a moment. But just so you guys know, in my opinion, the best rendition, no offense to Dan here, I love the original story, but the best rendition of the Death of Superman story, and it's actually the Death and Return, was actually done by an author. He's a director and everything, named Max Landis. Hope I'm pronouncing that right. I'll include a link in the video or in the description when I get done with this, so that way you guys can go check that video out for yourself. But I really, really encourage you guys to go check that video out because that's just really cool. I was shown that by a buddy of mine I used to work with, and I watch it every now and then. It's just kind of a normal part of my watching list. Every now and then I just throw that thing on. But anyways, let's get back to the Dark Multiverse, Death of Superman. So as I said, Superman makes a sacrifice play fighting Doomsday, which was Lex Luthor's fault. And then in the normal Death of Superman, it's usually it's sad, it's lighthearted, it's like a lot of people are missing Superman. There's a couple books done called, there's one, A World Without Superman. It's a collection of all of the Funeral for a Friend comics. I do own both. I own all of the Funeral for a Friend comics, and then I own a copy of the World Without Superman, and it's actually signed by Dan the Man. I just noticed that the other day, that it actually has Dan Jurgens' signature on it, so that was a pretty cool little thing. But, it was just, that event was just a really big event. It was really sad. And this comic right here, this one kind of takes a dark turn on it. So when Superman dies, there's a whole bunch of different people that kind of don his symbol that come around and stuff, and the Justice League is still around. They're still kind of doing stuff. And in this comic, when Superman dies, Lois blames the Justice League. She tells them that they let him die alone. He was just, he was their savior, and they didn't care about him enough. They didn't deserve him. And her whole spiel for that the whole spiel for the whole comic was that they didn't deserve him. The Earth did not deserve him. That they didn't appreciate him enough. And she goes on to kind of mourn him. She goes to the funeral and sees the whole Justice League kind of, up row in front because they're superheroes. It's kind of what they get. It's kind of what they deserve. And, she kind of just goes off and realizes that the Justice League, they could have done more. They could have saved Superman. They could have saved her Clark. And she gets angry. She's blaming them. She becomes bitter, and she takes his cape, which was his baby blanket when he flew to Earth, and she takes his cape and that's the only thing they would actually let her take. Takes the cape to the Fortress of Solitude, puts it down, and realizes, oh my God, he was the last Kryptonian. That was it. That's it. Krypton's done. Then this Eradicator comes out, and he's like, "Oh my God, I'm too late. I was supposed to save the last son of Krypton, and I failed. But I tried to save him. I put his body in this life matrix, and it was too late. I couldn't save him, but I was able to take his powers. I don't have anything to do with these powers. I don't know what to do with them, and it's just like I'm gonna die because these powers are too much for me. I need to do something." And she's like, "Well, give me the powers. Give me the powers. Let it become my burden." And he's like, "You know what? Fine, fine." And he gives her the powers, and because I'm guessing because the power of love or grieving or something, she's able to hold the power. She's able to use the power. Then she goes off and she starts trying to convince herself to make the world the way that Clark would want, the way that he would have wanted it to be. And she realizes that he never had the heart to do the bigger steps. She starts going, and instead of taking out bank robbers, she's taking out the banks. Instead of, stopping weapons manufacturers, she's stopping war. Like, she's doing all these bigger steps, which obviously the superheroes don't do those steps for reasons. Like, I know it's Marvel, but in the Avengers, especially in Civil War, they have the Accords and everything that kind of, try to dictate what the heroes could and couldn't do. Obviously, that didn't work in that universe. It doesn't work in this universe. Sometimes, a lot more times than not, Batman likes to break the rules, but she still goes on to, try to fix the world, and Batman eventually stops her when he finds her, I don't know, casually killing the Joker. She's murdering villains now. She's taking out these super villains that have been around for years because she's like, "You heroes are dumb. You should be taking these people out. The system doesn't work. Take these guys out." She goes and she kills Joker, and Batman is like, "Hey, what are you doing? You need to stop doing this. We don't kill. This is a line we don't cross." And she looks over at him, and she's like, "No, screw you. I'm doing what I want to. You guys are messing up. It's my turn now." And then he's like, "Well, I can't let you do that." Grabs a chunk of kryptonite and then just proceeds to knock the crap out of her. And then she looks over at him and she's like,
"Tell me, do you bleed?"
And I'm kidding. She doesn't actually say that. But she kills Batman. Like, she straight up just heat visions the crap out of Batman, and Batman's gone. Done. So she's going around, and she finds out that there's this new Superman flying around. And he's claiming to be the one true Superman. And she runs into him, and she's like, "You're not Clark. I can tell you're not Clark. What's your deal?" And he's like, "Well, I had this whole side story kind of strung along, but I'm here to pretty much destroy Superman's legacy." And she's like, no, you're not on my watch." And she starts to fight Cyborg Superman. And Cyborg Superman is, I believe his name was Hank Henshaw. And, she's just beating the crap out of Hank. Just start fighting him. He's fighting back. And then Steel and Superboy try to come helps. If you don't know, Steel is this, actually, Shaq made a Steel movie. If you don't know about that, go ahead and look that up. But he's basically just a guy in a steel suit that can fly around with a big sledgehammer. And then Superboy is a clone of Superman. But they try to fight. Cyborg Superman just kills them, just wrecks them. And then, while I want to call her Superwoman, but I don't think she's actually technically Superwoman at that point, Lois goes and she's like trying to fight him, and all of a sudden she sees, a symbol, a Superman symbol in the background, and she's like, "Oh my God, that's Clark. That's really Clark. That's really him." And it's Superman in his black suit. He looks like a fucking badass. Like, he's just going on, and he's like helping out the civilians. And while she's coming up to see him, he notices that the civilians are running from her. Like, they're terrified of Lois. And they don't, like, he's like, he doesn't know what to do with that information. He's like, "Why are they scared of you? What are you doing with my symbol on your chest? If they're afraid of you, what are you doing? Like, that's not cool." And she's like, "Well, I was just I don't want you to see me like this. I wasn't expecting this to happen. Let's just figure this out, and we can talk about this later." And he goes and he's like, "Oh, all right, but we're gonna have a talk." And so they go and they fight Cyborg Superman. Cyborg Superman breaks out this big old kryptonite cannon. Lois charges right at him, and she's like, "You're not taking Clark from me again," and tries to dive through. He blasts her, and she's still human, so she survives that blast, but Superman's in the background. He gets hit. And she goes and holds Clark in her hands, in her arms for another time, watches him dying again. And this time, when he's looking up at her, it's not with love, it's not with, just compassion or anything. He's looking up at her with just fear. He is horrified of the person that Lois has become. He is just absolutely terrified of her. And she's as horrified of what she has become because she let the power get to her head. She went a little off the wall. And then the comic kind of ends at that point because it's the dark multiverse. It's told from the standpoint of a celestial being that's kind of overlooking the multiverse, and he's wondering why these dark multiverses exist. The dark exists so that way we know what not to do. We can see how dark our path could have been, and we choose to go the other way. And it was just a really cool story. I really enjoyed it enough to where I wanted to retell this again. I wanted to be able to have this story back out there with good audio. So sorry about that, but it's just a story worth telling if you get the chance. I definitely suggest picking up some of these dark multiverse stories. If you're familiar with the regular story of it, these dark multiverse stories definitely have a great take on all of them. So that was just really cool. 10 out of 10 recommend the story, but I am a huge Superman fan, especially the death of Superman. You can definitely tell. I got the first appearance of Doomsday right there, then the Dark Multiverse, and then my death of Superman. So it's just I'm a huge fan of this series. That story was just really cool to read. I love multiverse stuff, especially the dark stuff. But if you want to see any more multiverse, stories, definitely stay tuned. That's what I specialize in. I love DC's multiverse, so that's kind of what I go off at. Other than that, I really appreciate you guys watching. Again, sorry for the original video, but hopefully this one was a little bit better and a little bit more descriptive. And thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next time.